to overstate the importance of breathing. It's certainly, you could easily make the case that it's our most essential function. Arguably, we cannot sustain ourselves without breathing. And every cell in our body, every cell is dependent on this constant flow of oxygen that we take in, and then we're equally dependent on our exhalation, which is the expelling of waste matter in the form of carbon dioxide. So when we inhale, that air is infused with oxygen, which then is taken to our lungs, taken to our heart, as you all know from your probably high school physiology classes. And then, of course, the heart pumps the oxygen-rich blood out to our entire system. The important matter for us, though, we later will spend some time with the mechanics of breathing, but the important thing for us today is to understand that our breathing has an enormous influence on the state of our nervous system. And we could also say that the inverse is true, that the state of our nervous system has an enormous influence on our breathing. In fact, we can talk about them as if they are separate, but they're not. One is reflecting the other, or one is the other side of the other. And our breathing, as you know, it reflects every emotion. If I'm happy, my breathing is different than if I'm worried. If I'm anxious, my breathing is very different than when I'm sad. So this gives us the insight of how integrated are my emotions, the state of myself, and my breathing. Now, of course, for many of us, our breathing is deficient. Our breathing is poor. As we go along, we'll talk about the different ways that our breathing becomes constricted or restricted. But the point for today is that what we want to do is stimulate our nervous system in such a way that our breathing returns a little closer to what it can be. Right? So interestingly, or paradoxically, as you might say, we're going to focus not on our inhalation. We're not going to focus on improving our breathing. We're going to focus on improving our ability to exhale. And I'll explain part of the reason why. And that is that the breathing centers in our cerebellum and in the higher up in our brain respond to the depletion of oxygen. So that for many of us, the issue, the primary fundamental issue in the restrictions in our breathing is that we exhale in a limited way. And you'll find that today in our introductory lesson, that by focusing and improving our exhalation, paradoxically, our ability to inhale in a way that brings about a calm yet alert state of our nervous system will improve. So maybe some of you have never been to an awareness through movement class, a Feldenkrais class. So I just want to say a couple of things that are a beneficial reminder to everyone, which is that we're not interested in repetitive movement. We're not interested in doing the movements quickly or fast. We will be able, and I just want to say something, that awareness through movement is not improving us through the musculature. If you think of most forms of self-improvement or exercise, it's the muscles it's our muscles, our musculature that's getting worked. Here, in awareness through movement, we are interested to communicate with our brain. And we can more easily and more effectively communicate with our brain if we make the movements small, slow, easy, and comfortable. All right, so I'll be reminding you of this as we go along. And as I said, and as Juniper said, if you have the slightest question, please don't hesitate to contact one of the staff. The other thing is that there will be certain points in the lesson where you may be confused about what we're doing, and I know where those points are, and so I've already directed Juniper to highlight some of our staff as they're doing the lesson, so that you can resume the lesson without being burdened by confusion. Ordinarily, we find confusion very useful, but today with what we're doing, I will bypass that. So please, Juniper, please show them how we're going to lie on the floor. So, you want me to narrate? So we're going to lie on our back for a good portion of the lesson. If you find it uncomfortable to lie on your back on your floor, you can lie on something softer. You can lie on your bed, or you can lie a comforter on the floor. We'll give you a minute before the lesson starts. But the critical thing for everyone, and we will have the knees bent, as you see here, with the feet spread apart about shoulder width. But the critical thing in terms of what we're going to be doing today is that when you're lying on your back, you would like your head and neck to be as neutral as possible. So that means
sorry, David. Just malfunction here.
So if for some of you, if you find that your head is tilted backwards and that's uncomfortable for you, you can put a thin pad, a thin piece of foam behind your head, and that will be just fine. But you can, yes, please, can we see the other ones?
Sorry, my keyboard's not working. Hold on.
So you can see that with this fellow, with this, he looks like a sweet person, but you can see that he has too much padding behind his head. And what that does is it declines his chin, compresses his chest, and makes it difficult for his diaphragm to descend up and to descend and ascend in an easy and simple way. And you can see that his lungs also are limited in the way that they can expand because of his head being forward like that. Can we see one? Do you have one with the head back?
No, unfortunately, I don't. Shall I spotlight Molly or?
Sure.
Okay. 1 second. Sorry.
So you can. I'm sorry to be taking time with this, but this understanding the importance of this, it will be critical to you having a successful time. So many people will lie on the floor, maybe not you, but many people lie on the floor and find that their neck is uncomfortable and their head feels tilted backwards. Now, of course, this is a distraction, and again, it limits, it's not neutral. You can see that, and it limits, again, the movement of the diaphragm and the ribs, but in a slightly different way. And so if you identify with the way Molly is lying on the floor, thank you, Molly, bring it behind, you're the perfect candidate to put some kind of padding behind your head. All right. So let's begin. If you need to go get some extra padding, please do so. And I mean, padding to lie upon or something for your head. And we'll begin in just a minute. All right, I'm going to assume everyone is ready. And find my gallery view. Great. Please lie on your back and just separate your legs about shoulder width apart. Your legs are long right now. Just take a moment to feel, sense the contact of your pelvis with the floor. If you feel that your pelvis is tilted one way or the other, if one side of your pelvis is closer to the floor than the other. And I forgot to mention, though Juniper said something, Nadia will be doing the lesson in sitting. So that means that if you're uncomfortable lying on your back, even on your bed, that you can watch Nadia as she does the lesson in sitting, which is very easy to do in sitting. Now, move your attention to your lower back and just feel if your lower back, where it makes contact with the floor, where it doesn't make contact with the floor. That's right. And if one side of your lower back is lying more on the floor than the other, or closer to the floor than the other. And now bring your attention to your spine, which begins with your tailbone, and then your sacrum behind your pelvis. And then you just slowly, you're not interested to change anything. You're not interested to evaluate yourself. We're not looking for you to be in a particular configuration or pressing your back to the floor. We're just interested to feel yourself as you are, so that as we go through the lesson today, you can observe if something has changed. And slowly move your attention up your spine, just feeling one vertebra and then another. If you feel that you can observe individual vertebra, that's fine. If not, that is equally fine. There's two very distinctive aspects to doing a lesson in the Feldenkrais method. One is the lesson itself, which has been constructed for your success, for your improvement. The other aspect is your attention. So we're not interested in judging ourselves, but interested in sensing, feeling ourselves. And of course, there's some places where you can feel your spine easily, other places where you can feel less easily. That's fine. And then you can feel there's certain vertebrae, like in the middle of your back, that touch the floor very clearly. And then there's other places in your upper back and your neck that don't touch the floor at all. And now notice the contact with the floor of your right shoulder blade. Again, not changing anything. You see, so many of us come to our life feeling that somehow we are deficient, and you are not. And that feeling of deficiency inhibits you from change and learning and the ease that is your endowment. That's right. And now your left shoulder. Just observe the contact with the floor, where your left shoulder touches the floor, where it doesn't touch the floor. Just observing yourself as you are in this moment. Okay, now slowly bend your knees. First one leg, then the other. Stand both feet and separate your feet about shoulder width apart. And put your hands on your lower abdomen, just above your groin. So that's right, toward your pubic bone, but on the side. That's right. And now that's it. And now just slowly observe, before we begin the lesson, the movement of your lower abdomen as you inhale and exhale. Just simply, in other words, just observing yourself as you are without us doing anything. As in vivo as possible. You can feel probably that your abdomen falls a little as you exhale, And maybe it rises a little as you inhale, or maybe you feel that it descends a little more toward the floor as you inhale. Now, I'd like to make a distinction between what you could call your lower part of your lower abdomen and the upper part. So the lower part of your lower abdomen is that part that's nearest to your pubis, your pubic bone. The upper part of your lower abdomen would be that aspect that's closest to your rib cage. Now, I'd like you to do something just simply, which is to exhale easily, simply, wait about 10, 15 seconds, just what you're comfortable with. Exhale a little more, and then inhale. So you expel all the air that you can easily and simply, and then you wait 10, 15 seconds and push out some more air before you allow yourself to inhale. And just feel if something changes when you breathe in that particular way. I'm not saying this is the way you should breathe all the time, not by any means. We will be doing many, many variations in our breathing in order to enable your nervous system to choose the way of breathing that is best for you. Not by some rule, not by some school of thought, not by some breathing methodology. So again, you exhale all the air that you can, you wait 10 or 15 seconds, you exhale a tiny bit more, and then you inhale. And see what happens to the expansion of your lower abdomen when you inhale after that second expulsion of air. Just feel where you can reduce the effort, where you can do less. Maybe you can relax your jaw, your arms, your shoulders. You want to reduce the effort as much as you can. You're not trying to achieve anything. I promise you that the lesson itself will be enough to give you the improvement that you need. In other words, you don't have to try to breathe better, to do anything better. Now, as you continue doing that, I'd like to give you time to do it, 20, 30 times. Can you feel that the expansion of your lower abdomen is in many directions? In other words, certainly your abdomen, you can feel it expanding in front, but it's also expanding downwards, isn't it? Towards what we were calling the lower part of our lower abdomen. And the inhalation is also happening, the expansion, I should say, is also happening on the sides, not just the sides of your abdomen, but the lower ribs as well. That's right. Of course, many of you know that the lower ribs have more available movement than any other part of our chest. And the largest part of our lungs is in the lower part. So we're designed, you could say, we are designed so that that area of our lungs, the lower part of our lungs, is free, not just to expand, and because of the lack of restriction from the ribs, but it also can expand more easily than any other part of our lungs. Of course, if you want to take a rest, you can rest from this. You don't have to do it every time you inhale and every time you exhale. We don't want anything in what we do today to be compulsive. That's right. So you expel air after 10 or 15 seconds of having expelled what you thought was all the air. And then you'll see that your inhaling will happen almost automatically. And if you relax your abdominal muscles, you'll see that there's a very stark contrast in how your abdomen expands as you inhale. Maybe rest for a moment. Everybody rest. That's right. And you just observe if something has changed in the way that your lower back is resting on the floor. In order to inhale properly, and I use that word knowing that it's placing a value on what I'm going to say. In order to inhale properly in simple, relaxed breathing, our stomach muscles must relax. Many of us due to many reasons, but many of us our abdominal muscles are overcontracted and unable to lengthen as we inhale. And this has a profound effect on the ability of my diaphragm to move up and down. Now, please bend one knee and stand your foot, and then bend your other knee and stand your foot. Bring your hands to your lower abdomen. That's right, just simply. And now begin again to do that same idea of you inhale and then you exhale all the air. Wait 10 or 15 seconds, expel a little more air, and then inhale. And notice, are you inhaling through your mouth or through your nose? Are you inhaling through your mouth or your nose? And by the same token, are you exhaling through your mouth or through your nose? So let's try a few variations on this. So continue doing what you're doing, but inhale through your nose with your mouth closed, and then exhale through your mouth. kind of intentionally blowing your exhalation out of your mouth forward. That's it. And then you wait, then you exhale again, and then inhale through your nose, and then blow the air out through your mouth. Your tongue can remain relaxed. That's right. And you blow the air out. Now, of course, when we are speaking, when we're having conversations, this is exactly what we do. We exhale through our mouth. When we're eating, often we exhale through our mouth. When we're doing vigorous exercise, you might spontaneously find yourself exhaling through your mouth. Now try doing the opposite and see if you can feel a difference. That is, inhale through your mouth and exhale through your nostrils, your nose. Again, just doing what's easy and just sensing and feeling where you can reduce the effort, seeing if you can even reduce the effort in your intention. Just sensing the difference between inhaling through your mouth, which many people do. I would venture that probably 20% of the population inhales through their mouth. That's right. Were you able to inhale as easily when you inhale through your mouth? Is that as easy? Do you feel as if you took in as much oxygen, as much air when you breathe in that way? Now go back to inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth and see if you feel a difference. Now try another variation. Try exhaling through your nose and inhaling through your nose. In other words, is it just as easy? Do you exhale as efficiently when you push the air out your nostrils as when you push the air out of your mouth? In other words, we have evolved over time, over the eons, in such a way as to make some kinds of breathing easier. Of course, our breathing changes depending on what we're doing. My breathing when I wake up in the morning is different than my breathing when I'm on my treadmill. And now, of course, try inhaling through your mouth and exhaling through your mouth. Very good. And now go back to the first way. Inhaling through your nostrils, waiting, expelling a little more air, and then exhaling through your mouth. That's right. Just what's easy, comfortable, pleasurable. All right. Please stop and stretch out your legs if you want to. You don't have to. And just observe. Has something changed in the contact of your spine with the floor? Is more of your spine touching the floor? And how about your lower back? I only ask because we observed our relationship to the floor before we started the lesson. And of course, whenever we're inhaling and exhaling, it involves a movement of our spine, our chest, and our back. Now, please do the following. Put your hands on your lower abdomen, bend your knees, stand your feet. And now, when you exhale and you then wait 10 or 15 seconds, and then you push a little more air out, would you please swallow some saliva? That's right, before you inhale. So you push the air out, you wait a quarter of a minute, you push a little more air out, and then you swallow and inhale. And see if that changes the way that your lower abdomen is expanding. Is there a fullness that wasn't there a few minutes ago? Of course, again, I want to encourage you to rest anytime you like. We're not interested in repetitive movement. We're interested in your sensory appreciation of what you're doing. See, maybe you can relax your hands a little more, your throat, your face. All right, please rest again. Stretch out your legs. The reason to rest is not because we're doing anything so strenuous, but is to give your brain the time it needs to integrate what we're doing. Just observe your breathing as you rest. Again, observing the rising and the falling of your lower abdomen. Please bend one knee and then bend the other. And spread your feet about shoulder width apart. And now we're going to, as I said, we're going to focus today on improving, it's a funny idea, improving our ability to exhale, with the thesis, of course, that there will be an improvement, a spontaneous improvement in your inhalation. Now, bring your hands to the lower part of your chest. And move the palm, your fingers, a couple inches away from your sternum. Your sternum, otherwise called your breastbone. And you just, this is not an exact science. I'm not expecting it to be, but you see if you can feel, oh, I am on my rib cage. And I'm a couple inches away and I'm on my lower ribs. I can feel that if I moved my hand down much more, there would be my abdomen and not my ribs. And now both hands are on your chest, but you're only going to do something on your lower ribs. And you're only going to do something with your right hand. So now, slowly, as you continue breathing in the way that we have been, in other words, the focus on the exhalation, and then you inhale. And now as you exhale, could you use your right hand, just the pads of your fingers, to gently help those lower couple of ribs to move downwards a little more? Just small, just what's easy. Again, you're on the lower part of your the lowest part of your chest, and your pads of your fingers are there, and you can feel, yes, there's a rib somewhere around there. And now as you exhale, you push a little those lower ribs down towards your pubic bone, towards your stomach. That's right. And you do that. Maybe you just inhale and exhale without expelling the air on that second time. And you slowly, just using your right hand, you gently, very, very gently, very, very softly, you move those last couple ribs downwards towards your stomach, as if you were helping yourself to exhale. That's right. Now, do it a couple of times going up to the next higher up rib. That's right. Just slowly, gently. That's right. So you feel that the right side of your chest is descending a little more than the left side of your chest. That's right. Good, good. You can feel, some of you might feel that when you do that, your chin moves up a little bit. That's right. Good. Now, maybe rest for a moment. Take your hands away from your chest and stretch out your legs. And even though that was a few movements done for a couple of minutes, is something different about the right side of your chest compared to the left? Is the right side of your chest lying on the floor differently? Bend your knees. Separate your feet. Put your hands on the lowest part of your chest, a couple inches away from your breastbone. And now do the same thing with your left hand. Very gently, as you exhale, as you push the air out, you help those lower ribs with a little bit of pressure from your left hand to move downwards That's right. Toward, as if you're helping those lower ribs to come a little closer to your stomach, a little closer to your pubic bone. That's it. Just gently, you soften your hand. Do you feel the back of your neck move a little bit? Very small movement away from the floor. That's right. Please rest a moment. Just observe, again, sense, feel your contact with the floor. If your perception of the left side of your chest is different than a minute ago, please bend your knees, stand your feet, and now tilt your knees about, 10 degrees to the right. 10 degrees to the right, and turn your head about 10 or 15 degrees to the right, and put your hands on your chest. That's right. And now slowly, only using your right hand, again, a few times, take those ribs down as you exhale, and exhale completely. And then simply allow yourself to inhale, feeling how your stomach rises, your abdomen rises. That's it. That's it. Again, your head is turned about 15 degrees to the right, and your knees are tilted 15 degrees to the right. Very good. Okay. Now, again, stop and just feel, observe if something feels, you can perceive a difference between the right side of your chest and the left that wasn't there a minute ago. Tilt your knees about 15 degrees to the left. Turn your head about 15 degrees. That's right. And now only using your left hand, gently take those lower ribs down. That's right. Toward your abdomen, as if you were helping yourself to exhale. Slowly, slowly, gently. The slower and the more gently you do the movement, the easier it will be for your brain to extract the useful sensory information. All right. Rest again for a minute. Just observe. That's right. Observe the contact of the back of your ribs with the floor. Does something feel different about the way that you're inhaling? Please bend your left knee and then bend your right knee. And now put your hands on your chest and slowly, slowly take those ribs, both of them down only as you exhale, and that's right. And feel where you can relax the back of your neck, That's right. You feel, so for some of you, you can feel that when you press down, your chin moves away from your throat a little. Feel if you can relax your jaw. Relaxing your jaw means your lower teeth and your upper teeth are not touching each other. And that's right, slowly. And your tongue can be relaxed. Good. And now, slowly a few times, lift your head as you exhale. Lift your head as you use the pads of your fingers to move your ribs, your lower ribs downwards, just what's easy. That's it. Just slowly feel where you can reduce the effort in your arms. And it's as if you're prompted to lift your head by the fact of your chest going down. It's as if your head and your eyes are going with the movement of your chest. Good. This time, interlace your fingers and put your hands behind your head. And just, again, just slowly, as you exhale fully, you lift your head and look down. Down meaning between your legs. That's right. And now stay there a moment. Stay there with your head lifted and feel what happens when you inhale. Can you feel that your head is pushed backwards towards the floor? That's right. And you exhale and your head becomes lighter, doesn't it? And your spine goes backwards towards the floor. All right. Please stop for a moment and stretch out your legs. And just observe the contact, again, of your spine with the floor. Please bend your knees, stand your feet. And now let's go back to one of the original movements that we did of expelling all the air that you can and then swallowing and allowing yourself to inhale, putting your hands on your lower abdomen as we did before. And just observe if that expansion of your lower abdomen feels different than the first time we did that movement. So you expel the air, you wait, say 10, 15 seconds, swallow some saliva, and then inhale. That's right. Are you inhaling through your nose or your mouth? Can you feel that when you inhale through your nose, the air from the outside fills up your lungs much more quickly than when you inhale through your mouth? And there's an interesting thing that happens when we inhale through our nose, which is that the capillaries and the mucosa of our nose, our nasal cavity, warms the air that you bring in from the outside. And so by the time the air gets in the seconds that it takes for that air to reach your lungs, it's almost the same temperature as the rest of yourself. And that doesn't happen when we inhale through the mouth. All right, please rest a moment. Again, observe. Would you say that your lower back is resting more symmetrically or less symmetrically than when we started? Please bend your knees. Bring both knees towards your chest. That's right. And now with your left hand, take your left knee, and with your right hand, take your right knee. Relax your shoulders. And now, as you exhale, only as you exhale, you move your right knee to the right to help yourself to tilt a little, roll a little to your right. And then you come back to the middle when you need to inhale. So just slowly. So you only inhale when you're in the middle. That's right. But you exhale and take your right knee to the right toward the floor. That's right. And you only inhale in the middle. That's it. Very good. Now, put your feet on the floor. Just let go of your knees. Just feel yourself for a moment. The right side of your chest compared to the left. Bring your knees toward your chest. Take your left knee with your left hand, your right knee with your right hand, and slowly relax your shoulders. And slowly, as you exhale, you move your left knee to the left. And then when you need to inhale, you always come back to the middle. That's right. You can feel that as you move your left knee to the left side of your chest is getting squeezed a little bit, isn't it? That's right. Good. Let your head and eyes turn to the left. Mm-hmm. And now, slowly, you alternate. You alternate taking your right knee toward the floor, letting your head and eyes turn, and exhaling fully. Come back to the middle. Inhale. And then, when you're ready, take your left knee to the left. It's as if the movement of your knee toward the floor is what's prompting you to exhale, because it's squeezing your lungs a little bit, squeezing your chest a little bit. That's it. And turn your head and eyes. Good. All right. Rest a moment. Again, just observe your contact with the floor. Observe the movement of your lower abdomen. Please bring your knees towards your chest again. That's right. And now continue doing the same thing, only inhaling when you're in the middle. But as you take your right knee to the right, turn your head and eyes to the left. And that's right. And as you take your left knee to the left, turn your head and eyes to the right. And of course, that also squeezes your chest a little bit, it twists your chest, but in that twisting, there's less room. That's it. Just what's easy. And relax your jaw, your tongue, your throat. Good. And now, slowly, go ahead and return to your head turning with the movement of your knee. That's it. And inhaling in the middle. That's it. All right, please rest a moment. Would you say, and you can just guess at the answer, would you say that your chest, the back of your chest as it lies on the floor, is wider or narrower than when we started? In other words, is your chest more spacious or less spacious? And if you feel that it's more spacious, as I suspect you might, that's interesting, isn't it? Because almost everything we've been doing has been compressing our chest. All right, one last time, please bend your left knee and stand your left foot, bend your right knee and stand your right foot, separate your legs, bring your knees towards your chest. Take your right knee with your right hand, your left with your left, and now lift your head away from the floor, just what you can do easily, looking down between your legs. And now continue that rolling while your head is lifted. See if you can take your right knee to the right and roll to the right. That's right. Some of you end up lying on your right side, and that's fine. And then lie on that's right. So now, because of having your head lifted when you go through the middle, that's it. You can rest your head on the floor when you go to the right and lift your head. That's compressing the chest, isn't it? That's it. Good. And you rest again. Of course, you'll have access to the recording of today's lesson. And you can, if some of the movements have given you particular pleasure, you can do them more times. You can do them 20 times. Please bend your knees. Separate your feet about shoulder width apart. That's right. And now again, let's just go back to some of those original movements so we can measure if maybe something has changed. So put your hands on your lower abdomen and exhale all the air that you can. Wait 10 seconds, swallow some saliva, allow yourself to inhale, and then do that a few times. And just observe. Do you feel that your stomach is expanding? Your abdomen is expanding more than when we started? Good, very good. Now, slowly, take your time, but slowly tilt your knees to the right and slowly roll to your side and then come up to sitting and then very slowly come up to standing and just take a moment. There's no rush. Just take a moment. No, you roll to your side and then come up to sitting from there. And now just stand and observe if something feels different. If your weight is more back over your heels, if somehow your chest feels larger or smaller. That's right. And now go ahead a couple of times and inhale through your nose, exhale completely. That's right. And then swallow some saliva and see gravity. Now gravity is helping your stomach to descend. But to the extent that your abdomen is expanding more and your abdominal muscles are relaxing, it means that the movement of your diaphragm is larger than before we started. And that is very important for easy breathing. And maybe walk around your room for a moment, just observing, again, the feeling of your lower back, your legs. If your chest feels wider or narrower. If your stomach, your abdomen feels relaxed. If you can relax your abdomen as you walk. I know many people have been taught to contract their abdomen as they walk. But you see, just for now, if you can relax your abdomen as you walk around. Are you inhaling through your nostrils, your nose, or your mouth? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope we'll see you next week